Alina, we are live,
Hello, thank you
and you're in
for
Costa Rica.
this show.
I'm completely not envious at
Yeah.
all at the moment. So, what are you doing in Costa Rica?
Again, Costa Rica is one of the open countries, and it's very easy to get here. No visa needed for pretty much anyone. 90 days, and they I think just extended everyone's stay till March 2nd. It's one of the top destinations for digital nomads right now because it's beautiful nature and then it's good Wi-Fi at the same time. And the place where I am at, it's called Playa Santa Teresa. It's on the Pacific coast. It's just only expats here. So it's a really fun community of digital nomads from around the world that are working together and enjoying the nature. Pura vida, as they say here.
Beautiful. So, hello everybody who's tuning in just right now on the podcast. I'm here with Alina Trigubenko, who's the CEO of Awarenow, and as she's already mentioned, she's in Costa Rica at the moment. And today we'll talk about coaching and what are the trends in coaching during and post a global pandemic. But before we get there, Alina, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience? Who's Alina? What's your background and how did you move to North America doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, well, who's Alina is it's a lifetime journey, kind of exploration. I'm still wondering who's Alina, but yeah, if in short, I created Awarenow. Of course, with a team, I wouldn't be able to do it without the super talented people behind it. Yeah, I moved to LA. I used to at least associate myself with Los Angeles, but because of COVID, I left LA and I don't see a reason of being there right now. I moved there 10 years ago. I lived in New York, San Francisco, gathering kind of, best of from all of the cities. And yeah, Aware Now is my current venture and the passion and the mission, where our mission is to maximize impact of professional service providers, coaches, consultants, and so on. So by streamlining operations, by providing an all-in-one platform, we reduce the time wasted on a management of different tools and and everything manual, basically, to free up more time to enable professional service providers to dedicate more of their time and energy to helping more people. So that's the mission that
Why,
we're
why did you
guided.
start? Why did you start Aware Now? Why did why are you excited to actually build this platform?
Yeah, so I was my previous project. I was producing a 360 aerial photo and video, and this way we enabled people that did not have a physical or financial ability to travel to see the world from the bird's eye view. And we shot from everything that flies, from helicopters, from drones before there was even like a industry of drones. We built rockets and launched them and filmed from there. And we received so many heartwarming and heartbreaking emails to our support, saying that I live in whatever country and I would never be able to see Iceland, for example. And because of you, thanks to your project, I have just seen it, it became, according to the messages, one of the ways to travel for people that did not have, again, physical or financial ability to travel. So, and that's what led me realize that technology is an enabler, and it's something that can democratize access to something. And then I went on and I got certified as a coach myself. And at the same time, I was a client of many coaches from around the world. I have like a team of coaches that work with me, and I really appreciate their work and dedication. And like I benefit a lot from working with therapists, with coaches, with consultants, and so on. And by kind of being on both sides of the market, I realized that there is a big gap on a market because coaches and professional service providers, consultants, and so on, they are struggling because they have to dedicate and like help people. At the same time, they are managing so many non-integrated tools. They need to figure out, play an engineer at night and figure out so many things that they should not actually deal with, because technology is evolving and there are tools that can support them. So, and then, yeah, being a client of coaches, I was frustrated because, whatever, a coach not miss the meeting, but I need to ask, how do I pay, or where are we meeting? And then, they manually send me reminders about the meeting, and, they email me stuff, and then I need to search back for that email thread to find that file that they shared with me, and so on. So, littlest things, and me being, of course, a user of, let's say, Uber or other very advanced apps, I'm very used to, as everyone else, I think, right now, we're very used to these top-notch digital experiences. So with that in mind, I was like, why don't we build a platform that would help professional service providers just plug and play and, take care, take care of manual tasks by providing automations, as well as we will make their life easier, and we will make life of coachees easier too, because sometimes when you're requesting this kind of help, you're probably in an anxious state, or you're experiencing some sort of emotional um, ups and downs maybe. So you, at this, like when you're actually working with, let's say, a therapist or coach, you actually want everything to be perfect so you can focus on receiving that help. And of course, those kind of digital and technological imperfections and the fragmented experiences, they do provide a negative impact. And as a result, of course, the revenue struggles, and many other metrics are struggling. So we decided to build an all-in-one platform that would streamline operations, that would take that pain away from both parties. So that's what we do. Long answer.
So is it fair to say that you were struggling yourself as a coach, because that's also part of your background, and in a way this is a tool that you built to help yourself and people like yourself, basically.
Exactly, absolutely. I use the platform a lot. I coach, and then I receive, if you look at my coaching portal, you can see a lot of coaches, and it's actually really useful. Everything that we build for ourselves first, and then we kind of scale it and enable others to use those tools too. And it's actually a lot of fun to build something for yourself, solve your problems, your friends' problems, your kind of close people in the network, and then others too. See how others benefit from it.
That is beautiful, and I definitely agree with you. Consultants and coaches, they need to focus on doing what they're good at, supporting people, supporting organizations, supporting companies, and if all these operational, organizational, logistical things can be leveraged to a platform, to technology, it's amazing. And we actually have a few comments coming in. I'm just going to read them. Thank you guys for engaging. Mihai is saying hi. Hi, Mihai. Daniel is also waving at us, and Sylvia, hi Sylvia, she says the platform is great. So somebody's
Thank
using the
you.
platform and enjoys it. Everybody who's watching us live right now, you get a chance to ask a question. Just drop a question in the comments, and we'll make sure to take some questions by the end of this stream. So, Alina,
Thank you so
let's just
much.
get into it, should we?
Yeah, let's dive into this.
Let's dive into it. 2020, an interesting year for many, least to say, and one way or another, it not only affected the normal businesses but also the coaching industry. And you've recently been conducting a research, and I guess you're also in touch with a lot of coaches because of the platform, because of what you're doing these days. So let's just maybe start with trying to talk about what changed in 2020 for the coaching industry.
Yeah. So I remember a year ago, many coaches were kind of hesitant of using the technology. I heard a lot from them. I use this amount of tools, and then the Excel sheet, and then it's fine. Or I use a piece of paper, and it's fine for me. But of course, COVID changed everything, and we, as coaches, as well as any other professional service providers, finally started appreciating digital tools. And voila, there is so much more benefit than just you have to use the technology to continue your doing your business and facilitating the work you're doing. But also, there's so many more benefits to using the technology, freed up time, and so on. So yeah, this was a big shift. Finally, our user habits changed. And of course, coaches are kind of leading this experience for clients, right? So normally it's whatever tool the coach is using or professional service provider is using, the clients get used to it. So with this whole digitalization trend, coaches started using digital tools and clients started getting used to it more and more, which is great. And this, of course, raised the plank for all of the tools in the industry, such as ours, and platforms. Um, yeah, so coaches started being more digitally savvy, which cannot make me happier. I'm super happy about it. That's why we exist, and that definitely helps us a lot. So that's one of the ways that the industry changed. Another one, more coaches turned their attention into scaling. Once they realized, okay, I have to use digital tools, the next step was, okay, so now I can scale. And what can I do to scale, easier, faster, and so on. And of course, that brought up more online events, streams, webinars, pre-recorded content, more programs and courses are being created. So that was also a big shift. Um, yeah, I think those two are the most kind of obvious on top of my mind.
Right, right, and we can continue exploring what really happened in 2020. We have a couple of more comments. My friend Arash is joining us, asking what is the name of the platform. Actually, he got an answer from Sylvia, who says awarenow.io. So that's the name of the platform. If you want, go check it out and see for yourself if that's something for you. But
Thank you so
Alina,
much, Sylvia. I very appreciate your participation, Sylvia.
yes, and there's also Mihai who's posting all the links.
And Mihai and
So
everyone else, of course. Thank you.
amazing! Thanks, guys, for engaging. Make sure to post your questions down below. What do you think, Alina, was some of the struggles for the coaches in 2020, like as opposed to 2019, with all this working from home? Do you personally, maybe that's another thing to discuss. Have you personally been coaching prior to pandemic mainly one-on-one, or what did you coach people on Zoom or on the phone, and how did that change in 2020?
Yeah, great question. I only do. I've always done pretty much always virtual because I love technology. So it feels better to me actually because I'm sitting in the comfort of my home. Everyone else is sitting in the comfort of their home, so it feels better for me than in person. But yes, the struggles in the beginning are, of course, to figure out what do I need in terms of the enablement, in terms of the tools, because you need to figure out, okay, how do I connect, for example, my Zoom account with my calendar, it's now easy, but then you need to connect it to the payments, cancellation policy, forms, intake forms, questionnaires, quizzes, as well as tie everything together to, let's say, a content that you need to be sent prior to a session, such as, let's say, a pre-recorded video, or any other kind of content. So the main, I think, struggle for coaches was how to piecemeal those solutions together to provide this streamlined and cohesive customer experience. And that's 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 a task normally for engineers, because you need to connect them and make them talk to each other, ensure that no information is lost along the way. That's also what we kind of cover with our platform. But yeah,
It really, in many
there's many tools. Yeah.
in many ways, this pandemic, as you said, not just for coaches, but for consultants, for service providers, for teachers, and all these type of professions, it really accelerated the digital transformation, because now there's no other way. You need to adapt. And how, if we look into the other side, like the customer's preferences, what are some of the trends in terms of what coaches, clients of coaches are interested into getting more of, like, how do they want to be served in a, like, working from home 2021 world?
Oh my God, I love this question. This is one of my favorite topics, because as as a tech company, we have user research, we conduct user research and user testing and so on. So, and coaches normally don't ask those questions. They don't ask, what, makes your digital experience fine, or, what. So there is kind of this gap between coaches and coachees in expectations for the experience of the engagement and so on. So we love to fill in this gap with our research, and we interview both parties a lot. We have a lot of conversations with both parties. So for coachees, one of them kind of main very important topics that wasn't as prioritized before became the security. So if, let's say, a year ago, when we were kind of talking to several potential customers or partners or clients, only health and wellness related companies were asking us about the security. Since COVID hit, it became a question across the board. So corporate clients of coaches, as well as solo clients of coaches, as well as, let's say, tutoring and any kind of other professional help, became very important for these professional service providers to use secure tools. So coachees demand to know how their data is used. They demand to, we became more, I'd say, educated about the current, security trends, as well as state of technology tools. And therefore, this question is very common. When we started actually building the platform, we built it HIPAA compliant. That means we can process health information. It's like the highest security standard in the States. And we thought it would be an overkill for other kind of professional service providers, such as, again, tutors or consultants. But no, because of COVID, their clients started just, being very focused on ensuring that the tools they're using to share information, most of the time it's very private information, are very secure, and they can feel safe using those tools and kind of opening up and connecting with their providers. So security is definitely uber important.
So if you think about the, somebody, a traditional coach right now, that's like watching this podcast and listening to the podcast, and what would be some of your main pieces of advice in terms of how should they adapt to the 2021? What are some of the main things they should pay attention to? One thing is security. I think it's a really good thing that you mentioned is, how do I ensure that the data that I'm collecting from the client is properly stored and it's managed well? That's one thing. But what other things you can also suggest based on the research that you guys did recently?
Yeah, well, first of all, yeah, security, of course. Second, make it very easy for your clients to consume your services, meaning just provide very easy to follow descriptions, as well as add, let's say, booking links, and make sure that everything is streamlined. So as a client, I don't have any friction in requesting the next service, let's say enrolling in your program once I've had a one-on-one session with you, or let's say package sessions. Just make sure that think about, maybe mind mapping would work. Think about your client's experience, just where they're at, and then because it's really something that is often not paid attention enough to, the ease of well, we call it upsell, but of course coaches normally don't like to call it as upsell, because coaches normally think they're afraid of coming like being perceived as salesy, but technically it's an upsell. So make sure that your clients can easily see the whole menu of your services and enroll in them, as well as they have an easy way to connect with you. For example, emails, we see, especially in California, more and more coachees are trying to avoid using emails for their coaching engagements, just because several reasons, but also one of them, of course, the ease of use. So it's not always shared in the same thread. So sometimes you need to kind of source back and find that email where coach sent you something. So make sure that your clients are avoiding any kind of frustration in their digital experience, and providing links, timely links, invites, and everything that can just there's a great book, it's called Don't Make Me Think. So use that as your motto. Don't make your clients think. Just make it very easy for them.
And especially in times of uncertainty, I think it was an article by either McKinsey or Bain. When the pandemic happened, they came up with this article, How to Lead in Times of Uncertainty. And it was filled with simplify, simplify, simplify. Don't, think about that you're communicating to a little kid. Make, colorful, like titles and buttons, and just make it super simple for people, frictionless technically, so for them to really navigate and understand who you are and what you do. How can you help them? And I think this is not just about a pandemic, but I think coaches have been struggling, always have been struggling to be clear what do they actually do and how do they help, what kind of value they provide for their customers, for their coachees. And I'm curious to hear from you, because I know one of the points from the research, I read it earlier today, is about being very specific about your niche and what you actually can offer to whom. So maybe can you share a little bit about why is it important to be really targeted about who do we serve and what's the kind of value we provide to these people?
Yeah, specialization is definitely a huge trend that we see. So there are coaches for every kind of focus area. So, for example, there are coaches on communications for tech talent, and so on. So you as a coach have to be very specific who you helping, how, and why. And clients are just increasingly searching not for general kind of wide net coach. They want to be sure that who they work with has this laser sharp focus on the exact problem I'm looking to solve. For example, one of my coaches, he is a public speaking coach, but he works with executives from tech industry. So I chose him because this is exactly me, who he knows and who he works with, instead of just overall general kind of public speaking coach I wouldn't engage with. I specifically drill down to the experience. So the more you can communicate your niche and your specialization, the easier it is to convert and engage with more clients. Again, I use the word convert that is not normally used in uh,
No, it's good. It's good.
coaching.
You should. I think you should. More people have to think. I mean, it's a coaching business. It's not a coaching hobby, right? So, um, but I think another thing that's interesting to explore further is how important is for coaches to have their original content. Let's talk about the usual regular coaching. We don't talk about some complicated products. Just the one-on-one coaching, right? How important is for a coach to have their own material, tools, frameworks, tangible, tools and so on? Because there's always these two parts of the coin. Some coaches say, I'm very intuitive and I'm just really depends on the client in front of me where we're going to get into the session. But then there's this other type of angle that's about, hey, you need to have your own original material, original frameworks that make you an expert in your area. So what do you think about this?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, productization is one of the trends that we've discovered doing the research. Yeah, of course, selling as a coach, you start with selling one-on-one hours, and then you start scaling by selling, let's say, one-to-many services. But the real scale comes when you provide the courses and programs and distributed content. And that is a win-win for everyone. That you recorded it once. Of course, you'll edit it many times, but still, you can send it to your clients, and make sure that they covered, let's say, with some frequently asked questions or common use cases. So of course, content is still a king. And there are more things that you could and should implement in your productized coaching practice. Again, when it comes to productization, even a year ago, charging membership or subscription wasn't as common as it has become. So, and again, that correlates with the user habits. As users of digital tools, we're used to paying subscription for different kind of apps and services. So coaches, and I'm very happy to see this trend, are increasingly starting to charge membership and any kind of recurring payments for their, let's say, again, packages, courses, programs, as well as one trend that we see raising is text-based access. So let me explain. So for example, you, Stoyan, are creating, as let's say, a subscription, let's say $40 or $50 a month, doesn't matter. And this way you create like a bridge, structured bridge for me as your client to text you, to communicate with you and ask my question, because there is a timeline, time zone difference, as well as because of COVID, some people got, kind of trapped, or we stay in with other people in our environment. So sometimes it's not as easy to find a space to communicate or open up to a professional. So for example, therapy, I might not have another, like a full hour in privacy to open up, but I really want you to respond to something. So this kind of text-based support is something that coaches are utilizing more and more, which makes me actually happy. And that is another COVID-related trend, I think. So yeah, subscriptions, memberships for access to specific content, or to kind of way to as a bridge to communicate with you, and knowing that you will respond within 12 hours or 24 hours or any kind of timeline you set as a provider of such services. So that's I think, yeah, that's a big one here.
And if you were to search for a coach these days, what would be some of the characteristics that you'll be looking for, the ideal coach? Like how should somebody find the appropriate coach for them in this very moment?
Well, I'm trying to kind of refrain from promoting us too much, but that's another problem that we're aiming to solve, because we have the marketplace side too, where we have different filters and badges, so and the profiles connected. So you could, as a professional service provider that uses our platform as a tool to manage and scale, you could also see your you can also create your profile there. You could use as a digital business card because it has your certifications, licenses, and your kind of availability and bio, videos, everything that we added as a result of the interviews with coaches. Because when we work with coaches, we also ask them what makes it easy for you to engage with this or that coach. Why are you choosing this or that coach? So based on the interviews, we structure the information on a platform for the coaches to kind of plug and play with this structure. Am I clear or am I confusing?
My question was a little bit more personal. What would you look for personally when you're looking for a coach?
Ah, I see. Oh, when I look
What
for a coach,
characteristics?
well,
What do you want this
specialty.
coach to be? Yeah, like one person right now out there is watching this and they're looking for a coach. How should they choose it? Like you now, if you're looking for a coach, what characteristic you look for in this person?
Yeah, well, first of all, again, as a result of our interviews, we realized that chemistry is a big one, and it's true to me too. When I, for example, checked out their bio and I see that, of course, okay, this public speaking coach works with tech uh, entrepreneurs, so he or she probably knows how, what I'm struggling with. So that's the first filter. And then second one would be a discovery session where I would just feel out, is there chemistry or not? And I think the chemistry is the biggest differentiating factor. I don't, to be honest, I don't really look for certifications as much as I seek this intuitive kind of, yes, this, I feel like this person will help me. And according to our research, that's true to, for many people, which is surprising.
So does it matter for you personally the credibility? Like you go to their webpage, you see some other clients testimonials, or like somebody maybe that is like a big shot that recommends this person. Like, is that something that matters for you? It's more the intuitive.
No,
No.
it is intuitive. It is, yeah, purely intuitive. I don't look at testimonials because I don't know, several factors why I don't. But it's always this discovery session, 15 to 30 minute, just casual chat where I could feel am I comfortable with this person? Are they asking the right questions? Are they asking questions or more pitching themselves during this discovery session? Those are the key factors, I would say. What about you? Do you have coaches? How do you choose them if you
I
do?
do. I do. At the moment, actually, I do not. I have a couple of mentors right now, but it's for me, trust is the biggest one. I need to know that I can trust them because I'm going to open up. I'm going to be vulnerable, and I want to know that this person really cares. And they will keep whatever I share confidential. I want them to keep me accountable. I want them to give me a little bit of tough love, to care for me, but caring means they also need to call me on my bullshit when when I don't deliver on the promises I do, or when I do something that's against the things that I want to achieve. So that's definitely big. I want them to be confident. I've had discovery sessions with coaches that they had all the stuff, but they were not confident. They were not believing in themselves, and that was a deal breaker for me. And of course, they need to be competent. And to some extent, I think coaching is a lot about experience. The more you do it, the better you become. But also, like everything else, you need to have it as well. Like not everybody can be a great basketball player. Not everybody can be a great entrepreneur. And I think it's the same. If you're coaching every single day, but you have no talent, you're still going to be a decent coach maybe at some point. But there's some limit to where you can be. So if you really care for people, if you really understand people, if you want to help them to get to the next level, I think it's going to be easier for you to become a really great coach and be picked. But it's really a lot about the energy, as you said. It's what kind of a coach am I looking for? And there's no right answer. You know, some people would pick you, some people would pick myself, uh, some people would pick somebody else because of their approach, their energy, their way of doing it. And I love that you also kind of mentioned the certification. uh, i I think it's a really good thing. I had a training with one leading coaching certification program. I never finished it. I realized I've been doing a lot of the things intuitively and just being a self-taught and true experience in producing results. So I actually never finished it. I think it might be a really good starting point, especially for beginners who haven't got any, meeting with personal development and coaching programs to get a certification, to gain some confidence. I know that there's different opinions about it, but I just like you, I think it's about results. It's about feeling. It's about what could this person provide as value. So definitely, that's these things are playing a role. Obviously, uh, price could play a role at some points. It's not a big role because usually people are in the same kind of a range. But uh, I remember when we started a contract with a company to do performance coaching for. It was very specific performance coaching for traders in the energy industry. So we wanted to be the best of the best, which means we need to get in touch and be close to the best. So my partner on the project and I, we just research who are the best in the world in this specific niche, reach out to them, and we had a few discovery sessions. And the rates of some of them were like intergalactic. Like 1 hour was really crazy. We couldn't afford it, but we did do these discovery calls, and it was like they were really good. But also for me, this was an eye opener. It was like they're not so much better than me. Like sometimes we make these kind of assumptions. Oh, this guy, he like they're world class. It's like, yeah, but who knows? Maybe actually for this specific climb, I'll be better than this guy. So it was a really eye opening experience. But yeah, it's interesting. How did you choose your last coach?
My last coach, actually, as you were talking about this, I, it came up to me as again one of the coaching trends that we uncovered. This authenticity. If some time ago, coaches, there were a lot of coaches for coaches that were kind of training them to write this copy. This is the high converting copy. This is what you need to say. But actually, what matters, due to as we uncovered in our research, for the clients, is to feel this authenticity and to feel this vulnerability that comes from a coach. And I think it's a thin line of being, of course, confident and sound confident, at the same time being very vulnerable and being a real person and showcasing you as a real person with real problems, not portraying this kind of, this is the snake oil that I've discovered. So that there's also something that we discovered to be very important for many client coaches across the board, executives, and not only. So yeah, I 100% agree with you. This authenticity and the uh, combination of expertise as well as real life experience is crucial. How I chose my last coach, it was basically someone. Also, coaching is the pretty much referral business. So most of the coaches get their business from referrals. And I think those clients are the most stickiest. So once I, as the coachee, got a referral or recommendation from a friend, then I have higher commitment rate uh, to a specific coach. So my last coach I was referred to, and then again I saw that the niche is there, the specialty is there, the credibility is there, and then the feeling was there.
Okay. And what also is interesting is you mentioned earlier in the conversation about the different products, productization, and packaging. Do you see any trends when it comes to products with the coming of the pandemic? Like what do coaches do more of or differently thanks to all these trends of working from home and so on?
I think we became again way more open and vulnerable again because when we sit on Zoom, there are cats, dogs, kids, and we just instead of having this and expecting this more of a professional look, we became more forgiving of this vulnerability, which actually made us, I think, closer because suddenly everyone has family and you can see everyone's house and at least some parts of it. So I personally enjoy this trend that definitely makes us more, into this heart-to-heart connection, I think.
It's also interesting. A lot of people are right now creating digital products, video courses, and all kind of things. And I'm wondering what are your thoughts on the demand? Like, is there a more demand for those type of digital products, or are actually people mm, already a little bit having this Zoom fatigue and like video fatigue, and they just want to get out of the screens? I have something I would like to share, but I want to hear what you think first.
Yeah, products, of course. I think it's absolutely a norm. I think this is what we as coaches expect from coaches to have, again, the whole menu of services. So if you, as a coach, don't have a content or a course, I might perceive you as a beginner because, you know, why would you repeat the same thing over and over instead of recording it and scaling as a coach? So again, creating courses, creating programs. The big one actually that's been rising is interactive programs or interactive learning experiences. So it's a combination of content plus, let's say, group sessions and then one-on-one check-ins. We service quite a number of coaching organizations, and they are heavily using this module of creating like a learning path or experience path that includes pre-recorded content, check-ins, questionnaires, some sort of data collection, plus one-on-one and one-to-many. So this format has been blowing really good recently. And I think it's a great one because we all know that content alone is not a problem solver. And I think without the personal touch, content doesn't have very good activation rate or completion rate. People, I think it's only 3% completion rate for some of the platforms that only they're heavy on content. But as you add this personal touch, for example, it's the same for, let's say, fitness. If you just watch a pre-recorded video, you will do it for a week, maybe for two, and then you most likely will give up on this. But if you know that there is a trainer that is waiting for you, you will definitely engage more in this training module. So high performing coaches and high performing coaching organizations are utilizing this interactivity heavily. I think it's a great combo. Content plus some sort of reminders, automated reminders, notifications, data collection through, again, questionnaires or forms, plus content, plus one-to-many and support groups too. For example, another trend is after this interactive training or curriculum or learning experience to keep to enable members to communicate and have some sort of conversation through community aspects or group chats. That one is also very important because sometimes uh, for the transformation to be sticky, you need to be in the know, be in the field, um, be in touch with your coachees at scale, and as well as for them to connect with other people going through the same experience.
I love what you just mentioned, and I would say uh, I wanted to share some of the same observations. Obviously, I haven't done such an extensive research, but from my own personal experience, not only from digital learning experiences in this, but from doing a lot of virtual workshops and keynotes and trainings in 2020, I just saw how much people really wanted to connect with others. So this whole interactivity, I was asked to do a couple of these very pure keynote, one-sided. I don't even see the audience, and I think people like it sometimes because of the speaker, because of the content. But again, you can go and watch a YouTube video, right? I mean, it's not about the content as much. I mean, content is important, and I do think the content needs to be original. It needs to be delivered with really good level of energy. It needs to be authentic, as you said, not like some of those Napoleon Hill like kind of a content that everybody's talking about. It needs to be your own thing. It needs to be yours. Like it needs to focus on creating value instead of upselling other products. I think that's really important. But interactivity, super super important, especially in this global pandemic situation where people staying home. They don't see their coworkers. They don't often see their friends. They cannot go out and socialize. And providing, if you're doing these programs, learning experiences, providing the opportunity for people to meet like-minded people, and for you as a coach to facilitate these experiences. And again, it could be a hybrid program, as you said. uh, we're experimenting right now ourselves with me and my co-author. We published our book just a couple of weeks ago, and we're working on interactive
Congrats.
learning. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's doing well so far. It's a very exciting experience. But we're working also on an interactive learning experience. We are learning a lot ourselves, trying to incorporate mastermind sessions on Zoom, peer-to-peer learning and accountability, Q&A, live Q&As, and different things. Still early in the process, so I haven't really been able to get feedback, what works, what doesn't work. But definitely want to do it as much fun and as much sticky as it can be. So interactivity is a big word, I think, bringing people together.
Yeah, another very important aspect that we noticed, there's also a great book from Good to Great. So we always, when we interview our coaches and our kind of professional service providers, we also look for kind of in that book, we look for metrics that differentiate good to great coaches, like what makes a high performing coach that is scaling and is, their clients are satisfied and there's big retention rate and so on. So one of the things we noticed that great coaches do, they rely and they use forms and questionnaires and quizzes a lot. So um, for example, they create, let's say I enrolled in your program. What's the name of your program, interactive program you're working on?
The working, well, there's no name yet, but it's going to be on
Oh,
the webpage,
sorry.
performnow.eu. It's something to do with perform, which is the name of the book, perform the unsexy truth about startup success, but we haven't really given it given it a title yet.
Okay, yeah, good. Well, everything related to performance sounds sexy already. So, um, so for example, I enrolled in your program, and then you provide this interactive learning experience. It's very important for you to track and measure my success or my progress, and for that, create a set of automated messages or questions that I receive. For example, how are you feeling today? Submit your whatever material that you think is relevant to the program, or kind of one-way notifications or reminders that, hey, use my whatever tip nine, tip number 3 from our program today. So this kind of tools, this kind of personalized engagement at scale is something that definitely many great coaches utilize, and their clients are raving because they feel that the coach is there, the coach is engaged in learning more and overall, tracking their progress, as well as it just feels more personal. And then that, as well as you kind of set it once and then you automate those messages, and that's it. From the coach perspective, it's not too much of a time investment, but it produces a huge, really good ROI for the time invested into creating this kind of experiences.
Yeah, I can imagine. Again, I'm just experimenting now, so I haven't really been playing much with platforms. But I can imagine the value that comes out of just being able to be reminded sometimes. Hey, you have an assignment. Did you check out this thing? Did you do it, like, just the accountability part, but also the care part. Like, you receive this. It's something that triggers you to do something good for yourself, whatever it is that you've been coached around. So
Yeah,
yeah, I can definitely see the value into automating programs in this way.
we actually designed. We were lucky because one of our clients, it's behavior change programs. It's a coaching organization. It's fairly large that provides behavior change programs, and they provide really interesting hybrid approach. And they helped us design this whole module of automated reminders, notifications, questions, and so on. Because so the logic behind it is connected to the behavior change methodology. And I think that all coaches, despite their focus area, should look deeper into behavior change methods and tools and kind of logic, because that's what we do as coaches. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we coach, it's all about behavior change.
Yeah, it's about results, right? Changing
And
behavior and
of
results.
course,
And
yeah.
uh, yeah, so that's true. We have a question from Mihai, and he's asking, what budget category do personal coaching budget falls into for you guys? Investment, education, or something else?
Do you want to answer first?
No, you go ahead. Ladies first.
I'm really curious. Oh, okay, thank you. Um, Great question, Mihai. Thank you for the engagement here. Um, Investment and education. I think both. Personal coaching. I think it's both. Great question. I don't know. I think it's investment and
If he's
education. Yeah.
thinking about if he's thinking about the financial sort of like a spreadsheet, that you can say it's in training and education, right? But if you think about what it actually is, yeah, it's investment, right? It's investment, be it for yourself personally, be it for your team. So I don't know, Michal, if we answered your question, but personal coaching is definitely an investment, and it's investing in yourself is a great education. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some perspective. So just to get back to the overall kind of a like coffee and productivity thing, Alina, you are a CEO of a company, tech company. You're a coach yourself. You do a bunch of other things. How do you manage to stay on top of your own time?
Oh my God, that's always a again search. How do I stay more productive? I would say that well, I am very honored and very blessed to be working with such great team. I wouldn't be able to do anything without them. We have very talented people on board that help and that are very structured and organized, thank God. So it makes it easier for me to do so. But Dave Asprey, as well as Tim Ferriss, are great authors of productivity that I love, and they talk about structuring your day, as well as I work with Dan Martell. He's like a SaaS coach, very amazing, very talented coach. He's a former entrepreneur, and he also provides the same kind of methodology of looking at your calendar, create schedule that you need first. For example, from 3 to 5 p.m., I have focused email time on every day, and just block out this time. And then, work, just block out times that you want to kind of use and utilize as you want, because if you just start your day with emails, you're going to be working for someone else's needs, because people constantly need something from you in an email. So yeah, creating kind of windows for certain activities, and training your brain to get used to it, and kind of creating habits out of it. I think it's a great strategy that I've benefited a lot. What about you? I'm really curious about your tools and tips.
Well, for me, I'm a very creative person, just like yourself, but I also have the mathematical structure spreadsheet kind of side of me. So I need a list, and I have a very specific way that I plan my months, my weeks, my days. But I'm spending 30 minutes every day to just to reflect on my day. So I have a look at the what have I achieved, what did the team achieved, what is the progress that we made, what are some of the things we couldn't achieve today that we need to move to the next day, or maybe eliminate if it's needed. So I do a little bit of a reflection analysis first, and then I have a 5-step process, the perform planning method, which is basically for me to make sure that my attention, my time, my energy is spent on the right things. And it has some of the elements that you said. The end result is that I come up with the most important results or outcomes I need to produce the next day. And I need my team to get done by the next day. And then the most efficient way to get those things done. So it's really important for me to have this half an hour to actually make sense of things. Because if I don't take it, I might still be super busy and spend a lot of hours, but if I don't know what I'm after, I might actually produce results that are not so high in terms of importance. So, similar like you, I define what are the core results that I want to produce, and then I block my calendar. I love calendars. I lived in Scandinavia for 10 years. I probably learned it there. And I try to do my best to execute on the plan, but again, I'm also very flexible. So when the day comes, say I'm planning for tomorrow. Now that we're finished with the podcast, I'm going to sit together, get a cup of hot chocolate, and I'm going to plan my tomorrow. But tomorrow is actually Saturday. Uh, yeah, actually, I'm working tomorrow, so I'll do that. And it's going to be pretty much the same. Just what are the most important results I want to produce? How do I do it in the best possible way? And when tomorrow comes, something might happen, like you and your team comes to town, and you guys say, hey, we're in town, let's have this meeting, we have this great idea, this project, can you make time? Sorry, it's last minute. Okay, let me just have a look at my schedule. Should I move something? Is that more important than the things that I already kind of had it like? And when you have this structure, it's easier to make changes. It's easier to be in control when you know, where do I want to be long term, what are the results, and then you build it backwards. So this is my tool. It's very simple. It's not sexy, everybody can do it. uh, it's like, not everybody loves to plan and make lists, but I would say, if you only master this simple habit of sitting down and making a list, and really trying to make sense of it, not just like a random list and filling your calendar with countless meetings with no purpose, but really having a purposeful working day, workflow, and align with your team, then your productivity is going to blossom. So yeah, that's kind of the short way to to explain, Lina.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. Also having agenda set for every meeting, as well as taking notes and then sending them in the chat, in a, whatever email thread, to kind of, define the next steps and all the talking points. Just reduces so much brain energy spent later on kind of trying to remember what did we cover, what did I promise, and so on. So yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Alina, it's been such a pleasure having you. There's another question coming from Mihai, and I think it's a good way to summarize today and finish up this exciting episode. I'm sure a lot of coaches watching are going to be uh, grateful for all the advice that you provided. So the question he has is connected to the platform. Awarenow. A couple of people ask what's the name of the platform. So he's asking how could a coach scale his business using a platform like awarenow.io.
Well, yeah, of course, my favorite topic. um, yeah, so we are again focused on providing an all-in-one platform. So by creating your account on the platform, you could create and display your menu of services: the one-on-one, one-to-many, group sessions, courses, programs, packages, and so on. So by engaging in those type of services, that already is big, big one for scaling. We also have it fully integrated and built out forms and questionnaires and quizzes. So the things we've covered was kind of this async support, as well as the questionnaires at scale and notification and reminders. We have it built out. So please create an account and take advantage of everything we built out in a system, because again, everything is based on research and everything is there, so you don't have to waste time on piecemealing solutions. Actually, we conducted another research. We're all about this. We're research geeks at all right now, where we interviewed coaches on trying to figure out how they allocate their time. And it actually broke my heart seeing that only 41% of coaches' time is spent on revenue generating activities. Everything else is management of tools, admin, billing, and yada yada, marketing and sales. So our mission is to maximize that time to at least 80 or 90%. So by using an all-in-one platform, by using an integrated tool to manage and scale your business, you save so much on unseen costs, as well as time wasted on manual data pouring or just kind of manual, things. So yeah, scaling is connected with automations, and we do invest a lot in automations and research on automations. So yeah, um, sign up on Aware and let me know if there's anything we can add or we could create on the platform to enable you as a coach or consultant or other kind of professional service provider to scale better and faster and easier. So we're always listening.
So everybody who's listening to the podcast, go check out awarenow.io. And if you have any feedback, make sure to reach out to Alina and her team with your feedback. And now to wrap up this exciting session, Alina, let's maybe leave the audience with a final message. 2020, not just for coaches, but I guess for many other people, it's been a very challenging year. A lot of people lost their loved ones and family, and people have been not so well healthy, but also in terms of businesses, a lot of people have been struggling working from home, another kind of issue, not being able to socialize and meet a lot of people. So what would be your message to people now at the beginning of 2021? What would you like to leave the audience with?
That's a good one. Well, um, 2021, already started with some interesting activity in Washington. So I think we had another expectation of the year, but it's already started as an interesting year. I hope this was just a kind of after effect of 2020. But I wish everyone to love and to get the most out of all of the optimizations that the digital world brings us, and staying connected at scale with your loved ones, and yeah, taking advantage of the time of as we're sitting in lockdowns, and most of us. And yeah, I hope that this time will bring us some fruits, and we will rethink, and we'll start appreciating simple things, such as, let's say, connection with your loved ones in person, and so on. So it's going to be a very exciting year of reaping the benefits of the transformation we went through in 2020.
Thank you so much, Elena. So everyone who joined us today, thanks for being here with us on the podcast. And as Elena said, make sure to stay safe. First of all, take care of yourself, but also care for the people around you. Be there for them, and make sure to spot the opportunities. Maybe to switch a little bit the perspective and see things from a different angle. Is that a time to rebuild and regroup? Is that a time to change things and start doing things differently? And what is out there for you? What are the opportunities that were not there before that you can maybe spot right now and create value for yourself, for others, for the world? So uh, thank you so much for being here with us, guys, and see you again for the next episode of Productivity Mastery.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Stoyan. I really appreciate your invitation. Thank you.